This is Project Stargate.
Texas. Oh, I've got a lot of news on Texas, and none of it's any good at all. Supreme Court says sexual harassment at work can be between members of the same sex. And this story comes from a fellow who was out on an oil rig with 3 other guys and was threatened with rape and all kinds of other things. And I think the court has ruled properly, of course. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment is sexual harassment, right? Now, listen to me very carefully when I tell you that there is something very, very bad going on in Texas, and not just Texas, but all across the country right now. I have received literally hundreds of faxes and emails from people about this flesh-eating bacteria. Our KTRH, just here in Houston, reported at 3:03 a.m. yesterday morning that 5 more deaths have been attributed to the flesh-eating bacteria. 5 deaths today. Why doesn't this get more coverage? And tonight I am asking precisely the same question. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago that I did about an hour toward the end of the program, very tentatively, because I was getting so many faxes, so many emails saying, Art, this flesh-eating bacteria is here, meaning Iowa, Texas, Oklahoma, Connecticut. And you may recall that it scared the you-know-what out of everybody not too long ago. And then the medics, the doctors, the scientists came on and said, oh no, it's been with us forever, which I'm sure is true, Strep. Not this particular variety, and that is, for some reason, it is converting into this thing that literally eats you alive. Here's another one. 89 cases of strep in Texas. Run for your lives. That's what the person who sent me the story wrote at the top. Actually, it's a Reuters story. A bacteria that in some forms eats flesh has now killed 18 people in Texas in the past 3 months, according to the Texas Department of Health. It said 89 cases of Group A streptococcus have been reported in that state since December 1st. Here's another one. Art, I have the latest figures on the strep A outbreak in Texas. Count is now 89, 18 dead. The latest, a 5-year-old boy in Houston. Now Houston is trying to reassure parents they really don't have that much to worry about. I've not heard the latest news of the Leander near Austin child that has been diagnosed now with the strep A. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I won't even bother to read all of them to you. I've got so many. And my question, I guess, there's 2. One, why are we not receiving this as a major national news story from the major networks? 2, if the CDC is involved, which it would appear they are according to the calls I've been getting in the email, that should make it a national story. Why would a bacteria that lives in many of us, a pretty good percentage of us, suddenly turn against us in such a horrendous manner? And having turned against us, why are we not hearing about it in the media? Now again, the scientists who said what came on the air after the last big outbreak, oh, it was no big deal. It is very rare. We are not having more cases. Remember that? They said we're not having more cases than usual. It's just the media is reporting them. I don't believe that for a second. I wonder if you do. If you've been in receipt of the number of faxes I had, you would be screeching the way I am right now about it. Here's another gem. Federal germ detectives say they have come up against now a rare super strain of tuberculosis that spread with alarming ease through 2 rural counties in Tennessee and Kentucky from 1994 to 6. It struck 21 people. In the 8 previous years, each of the 2 counties had recorded fewer than 1 case of TB in the total population of about 14,000. So I would say that the little things are beginning to turn against us. Why do you suppose that is occurring? Many of them are not new. It's like hysteria in North Carolina, in the estuary, spread now into the ocean. It's not new. Hysteria was an organism, half animal, half plant, that sort of was always there at the bottom of the estuaries, and only when a certain level and certain type of pollution reached them did they activate and begin killing fish, bloody sores, all that sort of thing, attacking people. And now, this story that is being very, very underreported, and I'm being kind here, this flesh-eating bacteria outbreak of this, what do you suppose is turning? Why are the things that have always been here, Strep A, it's with us. But now it's turning on us. What have we done to bring Strep A alive? I use that term, of course, tentatively. But what have we done to bring this thing alive? And by the way, for the conspiratorial-minded out there, this late word from Dan in Lexington, Kentucky. Did you realize that today, March 5th, is a rather special day? There are now 666 days left before the year 2000. Well, it's March 5th in some time zones out there, and somebody else out there might try and confirm what Dan says is true. That number, it keeps popping up, doesn't it? All right, we're going to go to open lines in the first hour. And again, look here. Go check out my studio cams. I worked hard on these suckers, and I think I've got them about right. See what you think. And it got done at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's how long it took. And I just kept batting my head against the wall until finally, which occasionally does occur, the wall actually moved. And I think I've got it, but you can tell me that. Take a look at the website, see what you think. It's www.artbell.com. And if anybody out there has any thoughts on why these little things that previously were not active, like this flesh-eating bacteria now are, I'd like to hear from you. We'll be right back.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time.
Well, hello and welcome to the stream. You know, it gets really lonely out here in Shelby. I'm out here on 3 acres with a bunch of dogs. I've listened to probably every Art Bell show about twice. I only do this for me, so if you're listening, thanks. shows up before they're always pulled down due to copyright laws. That's the reason why I put beats over this. And that's the reason why I have a wonderful file still. I'm going to be one of the last YouTubers. You hear me right now. Cosmic Depot is going to have Artville. Everybody else is going to be torn down.
Great to hear this morning, and I really mean that. Yesterday I was haunted because, you know, when things don't work the way you want them to, I just can't stand it. It drives me absolutely up a tree. Tony writes from New Jersey, there are 52 states. Puerto Rico would be 53. Yes, Mike, but that assumes that Alaska and Hawaii or Texas don't leave us in the meantime, but you're right. Again, I ask, if you had the opportunity to vote now on statehood, I wonder how you would vote. We're going to do a whole national survey about that or something. All right, open lines. Now, east of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Forward now.
Hi there.
I can't believe I got in. I've been trying for some time.
Well, here you are.
Yes.
Where are you actually?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Way in Toronto, all right.
Yes. I wanted to say, I think it's... Can I take a breath?
No breaths.
Okay,
Yeah, of course you can take a breath. You know, just relax. That's the thing doing. Get on there. Relax. Don't worry about it. It's just two people talk.
yes. I wanted to say how much I enjoyed the program about the Titanic the other night.
Oh, that was astounding, wasn't it?
Yes, and I had an experience. I went to see the tall ships. They're old ships, old sailing ships.
Right?
And there was quite a few in the harbor, and I thought I'll choose one, because I couldn't tour them all.
Sure.
And I thought I'll go on the Inca.
Okay.
So I went on the Inca, and I can't see. I'm blind. So it was quite an experience to go and see all the ships and everything. And then I met the crew, and they sailed away. And the next thing I know, the Inca sank in the harbor, in Kingston Harbor.
Holy
during a
mackerel.
storm.
Holy mackerel. Well, it's a good thing, I guess, you didn't solicit a ride, huh?
It's the weirdest feeling.
I know. It's like missing your plane and having it crash.
Yes, and I wanted to say about this flesh-eating disease. We had a little boy die here in the hospital emergency room just lately. They've cut the hospital services here.
There in Canada?
Yes.
Flesh eating.
And he had the flesh-eating disease. He waited 5 hours to see a doctor, and by the time he saw a doctor, he died.
Well, thank you very much for that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the kind of call and email, hundreds of them, I'm telling you, and faxes that I'm getting. This is a big story, and somebody out there is intentionally ignoring it, not me. Something has happened. And no doubt, if they do begin running the story in the next few days, they're going to bring in some scientists who are going to say, well, we've always had this around, and these numbers really are not out of line with what we've seen in previous years. Yes, they are. Way out of line. So this is a big story, and I'm going to follow it very closely. West of the Rockies, you're on the air, top of the morning. Hello. Turn your radio off. That's number one.
Okay, I'll turn it off right now.
Excellent.
Hi, how you doing, Art?
Fine.
My name is Terry, and I'm in San Jose.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a little nervous, too, so let me catch my breath.
Okay. Take a good deep breath.
Okay. The reason I'm calling is you mentioned that it was 666 days till 2000.
Well, that's what the faxer said. He said as of March 5th.
Well, I ordered Steve Gibbs' time machine, which came today.
You got the time machine? Oh, you know what? I'm going to have Steve Gibbs back on.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He wants to come back on, and I've got his number, and we're going to have him back on. I don't know, maybe in the next few days. Anyway, you've got your machine, huh?
I just got it. I'm reading the instructions, and I'm getting ready to maybe try it out. Not so much to travel through time.
People out there, my friend, are not going to know what you're talking about because we had him on so long ago. Stephen Gibbs is an entrepreneur, scientist, crazy dude who has actually built, he claims, a time machine. Now, he also has a time machine catalog. Did you get that first?
Yeah, I did. I bought his book, and actually I had a friend try to build one of his machines, but it didn't work. So I think he made a mistake.
All right. Well, that may well be. I mean, Stephen's got it down. So we did, I don't know, a couple hours with Stephen at least, and he's fascinating. I mean, he's an average guy, but he really claims, and he gives examples of people who have traveled in time with his machine, and you don't run into this very frequently. So, my question to you is, if it works, where are you first going to try to go?
Well, I actually had thoughts of wanting to travel dimensionally. In other words, travel to a higher dimension versus traveling to another time. Because he claims that you can use it for that as well.
Okay.
In other words, we're supposedly in the third dimension, and I'd like to travel to the fourth or the fifth dimension, which supposedly exists right here now. We just can't see it. We can't feel it because it's like a different channel.
Well, those deep thinkers like Dr. Michio Kaku agree. So it's entirely possible. Now, Michio Kaku would say, no, we do not yet have enough energy to travel. But, of course, Stephen Gibbs' machine is a little different. And, I don't know, there are several who say it works. Anyway, so you may make a dimensional hop, huh?
Well, we're going to give it a shot. But before you let me go, I just wanted to say one other thing about the fact that it was 666 days to 2000.
Yes.
So you said that, my heart about jumped, because when I got the machine, the UPS number, the last three numbers on it were 6. It's not a big deal about the number. It was more or less the synchronicity.
I know.
And then,
if you want some more synchronicity, I'm not going to say who, but one of my guests in the next 3 days has a phone number that ends in
666. Well, that was the other thing. Somebody had called me, left a message, and their number had, the last three numbers were 666, and then I was driving home.
Did you call him back?
Yeah, I did. It was just somebody that called me. But then I was driving home, and the car that I was following, the license plate number was 666.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
No, I'm going, well, this is really kind of strange. I'm seeing these 666s all day, and then you come on the radio and tell me that it's 666 days till 2000, and I'm going, now isn't that synchronistic?
The end is near. 666, come with me to the millennium. Yeah, well, all right, I appreciate the call of synchronicity.
All right, well, good here.
Thank you very much. 666 is all over the place. But it's like, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like when you buy a car, all of a sudden you begin noticing all the other cars. For example, if you get a brand new Geo Metro, I like Geos, so I use that first. Then you're riding around town, all of a sudden you see Geo Metros everywhere. It's like Geo Metro City. And I think that's what's occurring with 666. I mean, after all, that is a reoccurring number all over the place, right? I mean, at one point, consider, my website would have had 6,666,666. So, and for some people, that's too much. I mean, they're ready to faint. Coast to Coast
Coast AM sure sounds great in the middle of the night. But you know, you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal life. For 15 cents a day, you can wake up refreshed knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcasting. As a member, you'll have access to our monthly live chat sessions with George Nuri and special guests. The Coast Insiders Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from March 4th, 1998.
Wildcard Line, you're on the air, huh? Art? Yep. Oh, wait, amazing. Fantastic. Yeah, I've got a pretty good theory as to what's going on. Good. I want to hear it. Where are you? Oh, I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Yeah. That's almost hard to say. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Yeah. Let me hear Manitoba's the province. And Canada's that's separated in the north, yeah. Yeah. Let me hear you say unique New York 3 times fast. Unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. Must be something about Canadians. You're the first one who's ever done that. All right, what's on your mind? Well, you're talking. Are you guys still talking about this strange flesh-eating disease, or am I hearing a recording on my radio? Or no, we're talking about that. Oh, okay. Well, I've got a really interesting theory. I'll start with the frogs. You've noticed that the mutations in the frogs as of late. The media's briefly touched on that. I meant to mention. I've got it in the other room, someplace today. It rained frogs. Yeah, I forgot to bring it in. Well, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly what's causing. I don't know why they're raining frogs, but I do know why they're mutating. And it's the UVB rates. They're steadily increasing, and why you maniacal? No, by all means, don't take anything I say for truth until you find out for yourself. No, first of all, you're absolutely correct. That is exactly what's causing the mutations. They were saying that it was some sort of thing from snakes, or something. You wouldn't even believe what they tell us here in Winnipeg. We had it on the front page of our newspaper. They were saying this boy had a frog in his hand, and he was saying, he's not a freak, he's my friend. And they interviewed the head of the zoology department. I believe it was either the University of Manitoba or the University of Winnipeg, one or the other. And he had said that this was just a curiosity. But it's well substantiated fact, going back, I believe, all the way back to 1978. And tests after tests have confirmed this. What they did was they just took some, tadpoles, the eggs in the pond, put a UVB filter over half of them, and not the other. And of course, what ends up happening is the ones with the filter survive and become healthy crops, and the other ones become mutated. Actually, the results of that test showed that a very high percentage of those exposed simply died. The few that lived mutated. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, another thing that's very interesting is the way the UVB is indexed. Like instead of giving us the milliwatts per meter reading, now that's the number we need. Instead of giving us that, they play all these games to justify their jobs. Like in Canada, the machine would cost less than $200, first of all, to measure milliwatts per meter. Instead, here in Canada, they're done in only 2 cities, Montreal and in Toronto. And they do the readings for the whole country, and they're not even based on any local daily readings. They factor in elevation. I know. You watch. The day will come when they will be giving regular UV danger indexes, and people will stop going outside. Well, and before you know it, they're going to be eating Ed Dame's survival. Well, it causes cancer. Like it's extremely serious. Like and that's partly why I think it's. We have alternate energy sources, and we've had alternate energy sources for over 100 years. And it's amazing that I get to talk to you because a lot of people are familiar with these things, like Tesla. He came up with free energy 100 years ago. We have fuel cells. Listen. Okay, but anyway, I'll just finish don't bother me on that because there's no reasonable current free energy device that you can go out and get. Still there is.
Oh, we have, there's buses in Vancouver, there's buses in
I know
San Francisco,
about-
and
I know about
Chicago.
Ballard.
They run just on hydrogen. But one other thing about the frogs, though. The frogs that are the devastated first, the first ones that go extinct, are the ones that have the least amount of photolase. Photolase is an enzyme that protects the DNA from the radiation. And when you have the mutations happening with the radiation, the enzyme goes in there and corrects it. Now, the smaller amount of that enzyme you have, the more mutated you as a species will become.
All right.
But it's a fun thing.
I gotta leave the line now, sir.
Thanks for your time.
All right, I appreciate the call. Thank you. Now, maybe there'll be a campaign to get us used to the fact that frogs have, like 8 or 9 legs. He's not a freak, he's my friend. Look at him. Bumpy in front. All 9 legs, aren't they nice? Used to the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Where are you, pray tell?
This is Ron in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yes, sir.
The Art Bell Cat Club coordinator.
Oh, for Sioux Falls?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, we were just having our second meeting coming up here in a little over a week.
These things are proliferating all over the place.
We're number 28.
Aren't you really number 28?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad to have you. Are you going to have a speaker?
Not yet, but here I'm one of your guests coming up. I'd like to get a hold of him, maybe.
Which one?
Steve Gibbs.
Stephen Gibbs? Well, not Stephen, huh?
Since he is just...
You know what? I think he would be ideal for a chat club. And when I call Stephen, probably tomorrow, I will ask him about exactly that. How about
Okay.
that? Okay?
I'll send you an email with my email address.
All right.
And I was talking to Tim, and unfortunately my information hasn't gotten up on the web yet. But...
Oh, it'll make it.
Oh, I know that.
They're updating that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, when we had our first meeting, we got preempted here locally when he was on because the basketball game went late.
Oh.
But I did get a couple people show up and heard it at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, the late broadcast. That's right. All right, well, listen.
Long-time listener, sir, and listen while I work every night, so.
All right, well, generally I found Thank You Talk Radio makes whatever you're doing go faster. I don't know what I do without talk radio driving at night. That's when I listen. When I drive, and I love driving. I think I'm a nocturnal human being, All these years of doing this shit, I don't like driving during the day. I want to drive at night. Oh, give me night any day compared to the daytime. Maybe I might be mutating. Gee, there's a thought. After all these years, maybe I'm mutating into some sort of nocturnal, half-feral human being. First time caller line, you're on the air. Good morning. Ooh, that's a deep good morning. You're going to have to yell at me. Where are you?
I am in St. Catharines, so I will not be here long.
Oh, really?
I'll call myself Diogenes because I'm looking for an honest man.
All right. Where are you? You're leaving there because of what?
Well, I have maintained silence for 30 years.
Uh-oh.
Agreements that I made with the United States government. And I think now is the time to tell all speak when he has information.
All right. What is this in reference to? Go ahead, spill your guts.
Well, I want you to think back to the mid-60s when there was a plethora of sheep which were killed near a place called Dugway, Utah.
I recall.
If one saw the Andromeda strain, one had some idea of the testing facility that was maintained at Dugway. What you were not told with regard to that is that they died of a strain of botulism which had become capable of being spread by an aerosol. Since that time, we have had the introduction of perhaps 5 or 6 what were common bacteria, which have now become fatal bacteria,
including this new flesh-eating
strep A, a disease called Apple Cactus 542.
All right, look, I'm faced with going to the top of the hour here. Let me ask you two key questions. One, were you personally involved in this program?
Yes.
Okay. So the information you're giving us is first-hand knowledge.
Yes.
All right. You're on the line where you're paying for the call. I'm going to give you a choice of holding you over and letting you pay for it, or I am going to come onto the line during the break and get your phone number and call you back so I'm paying for the call, but I want to hear more. Or you can call at a future time. That's A, B, or C. Which do you prefer?
Well, I would have to call you back at a future time. I have some other comments, but
I see. All right then. Then be sure you do. Send me email privately or fax me or whatever, and I will get you on the air and let you tell your whole story, all right?
very well.
All right, thank you very much. We're faced with the top of the hour coming up very quickly from the high desert. This is Coast to Coast. And the trip
In time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM.
Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Just another 20 more minutes to bumper music, just 20.
March 4th, 1998. I have, for 2 days now, been laboring over my webcam situation, and man, are they working. Boy, are they working. So if you want to check out my studio cam and see the fruit of my labor, go right ahead. I just got a call from my boss who said that the
Let that music
three
bleed over
numbers
for about
of
another
his
20
social
minutes.
security number are
Let it go, baby.
666.
Let it bleed,
Well, that
baby.
means probably make a lot of money, but
Let that bumper music bleed for about another 20 minutes.
we're talking about frustrating
Must
electronic
be feeling really good, Art.
projects, and Alan Corbett, that is my boss, and myself,
There you go.
have a very similar electronic background, and he reminded me of old agony. Those of you in electronics know, in years past, not modern televisions, top-of-the-line Photons or Sonys or whatever, but the older TVs. When I was young, I fancied myself as, I could repair anything or break it. Then my average was about 60-40. 40% of the time I fixed it. Reminded me that converging TVs, any of you in electronics will recall, it was Project Impossible. Televisions in that day really never did converge, for those of you who know what that is. That means that everything hitting the front of the tube is hitting it as it should, the colors look just right. Well, they never converged, and you used to sort of glean around either the left or right-hand side or above or below objects. And it was an eternal challenge. It's like Rubik's Cube. in a way, trying to get a TV to converge in the old days. It couldn't be done. But I would spend hours and hours and hours trying. And I received several incredibly, and that may account for my present behavior, incredibly large shocks from television. We don't know why I'm still alive. Forecasters failed to predict one element of the weather yesterday. In Croydon, wherever that is, it rained frogs. True story, folks. The strange event was included during a report by Suzanne Carlton at the BBC Weather Center, SCENTRE, after a distraught woman rang the the weather office at Bracknell at breakfast time to say that dead frogs were falling from the sky and covering her garden and the entire immediate neighborhood. Staff at the inquiry desk had thought the call was a hoax until the woman's attitude made them take her seriously. The national forecaster there said, "Well, you do get reports of things getting sucked up by waterspouts, which are rotating columns of water or tornadoes, and have to go over a lake or something with a lot of frogs on it." Well, I don't know if I believe that or not, and I certainly don't believe the current reports, or lack of reports, I guess I have to say, with regard to the flesh-eating bacteria.
Coast to Coast AM sure sounds great in the middle of the night. But you know, you don't have to be nocturnal to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal life. For 15 cents a day, you can wake up refreshed knowing that last night's show is waiting for you with podcasting. Listen on your way to work and again on the way home. Or listen to one of over 1,000 archived shows from the past 3 years. As a member, you'll have access to our monthly live chat sessions with George Noory and special guests. The Coast Insider Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. You'll sleep like a baby, knowing you'll never miss your favorite guests and topics ever again. Remember, a 1-year subscription comes out to only 15 cents a day. Sign up today at coasttocoastam.com. Looking for the truth? You'll find it on Coast to Coast AM.
Not everything is cut and dry, and I think people will look at events and say who profits, who benefits, and then they back into it with their theories, which many people would say are conspiracy. I mean, there's no question there's a facet of government that wants to take guns off the street. Not just assault weapons, but pure guns. They want to get them out of American hands. In order to do that, you need tragedies and events like we had in Connecticut in order to create the stimulus to get the legislature and people behind that in order to say, you know what, they're right, we don't need this, we don't need this. So I think when you look at that whole picture, as bizarre as it sounds, because you cannot see a conspiracy at every event, but you will look at these events and say, see, this is what they've created in order to get people to think this way. Bottom line is people don't trust other people, and that's why they create all this.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere Inside. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from March 4th, 1998.
Well, let me tell you now a little bit about Dale Draft. We're about to talk about remote viewing. It is a fascinating topic, and when they sent the literature on Dale Draft, it read about like this. Former Director of Government Stargate Programs speaks out. For 17 years, Dale Draft was the leading researcher and expert in the Defense Department in the area of parapsychological phenomena, PSP, remote viewing. He founded and served as the director of the controversial and secret Stargate program, which received federal funding to investigate and use remote viewing to gather intelligence information. You tonight how his expertise in parapsychological phenomena led to a formation of what we now know to be Stargate. how the U.S. used psychics to gather information and intel. He's been in all kinds of alphabet agencies. We'll roll through that in a minute. Dale Braff was interviewed on the Nightline program in 1995 when all of this was broken publicly. As a matter of fact, they did a full program on Stargate, and Dale was one of those on Nightline. I talked to Dale, I think, about a year ago, and he was not ready to come forward at that time. Here from, if I recall correctly, the state of Maryland is Dale Braff. Dale, welcome.
Yes, hello, welcome.
Didn't I call you about a year ago?
Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago. I remember that.
And we talked, and for some reason then you weren't quite ready to say anything. How come?
Well, I thought it was premature. I was working on a book, and I just simply wanted to concentrate on that. And it just didn't seem like it was the right time.
Okay. Your book is now out, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. That would be a great time. All right, you have been in, let's get this up front, because when it dribbles in later, people send me faxes and email and they say, what a bunch of fun, this guy was CIA or NSA or whatever. So, right up front, what agencies have you been in?
Okay. I started off with the Air Force, the Department of Defense.
DOD,
and then I eventually moved to the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA. So I've only ever been in the Department of Defense. The program that originally initiated remote viewing research at the Stanford Research Institute in 1972 was initially sponsored by the CIA, but they bowed out about a year and a half after that. So the primary responsibilities for keeping the remote viewing research alive, and then later on, when an independent group came in within the government to help set up the in-house remote viewing group at the Army area in Fort Lee, Maryland, that was also DOD.
Why did the first agency bow out?
Well, my understanding, and I've had some long discussions with the principal researchers there, Dr. Hal Phillips, that this was politically driven because the original funding that was covering the early exploratory work in remote viewing research was in some group that did a lot of other unusual activities, and that whole area was canceled. So that was one of the main reasons. It was part of an area that was simply demolished at the time, so to speak. So they lost their funding through that. I'm sure there were probably other reasons too.
Well, one of the reasons that I've heard was the big accusation that we canceled it because it didn't work.
Well, now, I was talking about the early discontinuation in 1973.
I realize that, but I mean the ultimate end of the program, and by the way, I don't believe it's ended. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But the ultimate reason for cancellation, and supposedly why the government is now no longer doing this sort of thing, is because it didn't work. Would you like to address that?
Well, yes. The final report, the report that was finally published in 1995, which was sponsored by the CIA, and the CIA didn't do the report, they just paid for an external agency to do that. I recommended that the effort be discontinued, but that was only based on the last 2 years of the project activity, which at that time had been named Stargate. And
you named it Stargate.
Yes, right. When I eventually became the chief or the director of the Stargate unit in 1989 thereabouts, until I retired in 1993. When I first took over the area, I renamed it. Of course, this is very standard when you change responsibilities.
Sure.
You change names.
Sure.
In fact, it's almost automatic that you do this on any project.
Sure.
I appointed the name Stargate. Now, we had a group meeting on this, and there were a number of names considered, but none made any sense. I wanted to have a name that had a ring to it, that had some symbolism to it.
Oh, this does.
So I came up with this. It was kind of a compromise, but I came up finally with the name Stargate because I felt it symbolized an innovative project for reaching beyond the horizon of human potential. So it just seemed like a good name to have.
It is a good name.
Now, this is before that movie came out. There was a movie that came out a year or two later, also called Stargate.
I know. Did they borrow that from you?
I don't think so, because the movie was probably in progress at the time. It would be surprising if they borrowed it. I don't know.
Well, Stargate, the implication, I interview a lot of very interesting people, among them Dr. Michio Kaku, one of the leading theoretical physicists in the country, and he believes that an actual Stargate is possible, that one could actually be built. Now, there are many ways of reaching out across the stars. Is remote viewing one of those ways?
As far as time travel or accessing information at distant galaxies, is that what you're asking?
Well, let me put it this way. I have interviewed many remote viewers who were in your program.
Right.
Many of them, Dale, and I'm probably jumping way ahead here, and I am jumping way ahead, indicate to me that they have met all sorts of unexplainable entities that one might characterize in all sorts of ways while remote viewing.
Yes, well, I don't really know how to comment on that. The only thing I can say is that whenever you do any work in this mental framework, you will be bumping into perhaps symbolic aspects. Carl Jung, one of my favorite psychologists, would have terms like archetypes. These could be representative of something within the psyche, and I really am not sure if they at all represent anything beyond that. I'm not saying they don't.
So it could be the person's own psyche as well.
Yeah, right. I kind of see them almost as aspects of oneself.
All right, well, the whole idea, as I understood it, of remote viewing was that a remote viewer separates himself, is trained to separate himself from his own imagination.
Well, that's a nice idea, but I really don't think in practice you can assume that that's what's happening. Things will come in. It's very difficult to separate yourself totally from other aspects of your psyche.
But in the military program, that is just the Defense Department program, that's what they tried to do. That was the goal, wasn't it?
No, the goal was not that at all. The goal was just simply to again, let me talk about a basic remote viewing protocol, which basically came out of the laboratory work at the Stanford Research Institute in the early 1970s.
Right.
There was nothing really unusual about it. And in fact, this is what I'm trying to do in my book, Facts and Psychic Locals. I'm trying to show that this phenomenon is a very natural kind of capability that we all have. Yes, and there's nothing unusual about it. I use terms like extending intuition. And what we're doing is making intuition more specific. We're capturing those basic impulses that we pick up through our psychic senses. And I do like the word psychic, even though a number of people, some of my colleagues do not. We pick up these impressions through whatever the psychic mechanism is. And in the research community, this is referred to as psi phenomenon. I like that term. It's very neutral.
Is it real?
Is psi phenomenon real?
Yes.
After working with this area for over 25 years, I'll definitely say the phenomenon is real.
And remote viewing?
Remote viewing I see as a subcategory of psi phenomenon.
I have frequently referred to remote viewers as disciplined or trained psychics. Is that fair?
Well, I can go on with part of that. The idea of being disciplined is up to discussion. It depends what discipline you're talking about.
I'm talking about the protocols.
Yeah, right. Yes, correct. There are protocols that one follows when one is doing remote viewing or any other form of psi investigation, whatever name you want to call it. You have to have some kind of procedure or protocol. You're going to fool yourself. You don't know what you're getting. So in that sense, it's discipline, yes. And as I was saying earlier, remote viewing, in my view, in my estimation, is a part of a larger or umbrella term like psi. It's kind of related to existential perception, which is an older term. Anytime you want to do research or practical application in using this phenomenon, you have to follow some kind of procedure, or you may not know exactly what you're getting. So I agree, there is a need for protocol and making sure that you're not being influenced unduly by second guessing or something that's for
Their imagination, whatever.
And imagination is always going to be a tough one to keep out. And that's why when people say they have mastered that, I have serious doubts. I have not seen any evidence of that in the laboratory work, and even in the application work I've looked at over the past 2 10
All right, now, who developed, came up with the protocols? Who came up with
Well, the initial, there's several degrees of protocol here, and several versions of it, I would say. The initial protocol is fairly standard for how you do any parapsychological experiment. You know, there's the need to make sure if you're doing experiments, you have to have some kind of target pool, something you go out from this homogeneous, it can't be second guessed, randomized, nobody knows about it. It's fine, a double blind kind of situation.
Right.
So then that's part of the procedure. Then the strategies that people use can vary. And this is, I think, what people are quibbling over right now. People that have been formerly on the project have certain approaches,
right,
call it strategies. But there's protocol there too. Now the early protocol was fairly simple, the one used by the researchers at Stanford University. The strategies were left pretty much to the individual's discretion. But the scientific protocols were the same. And those are the ones that should be the same no matter who is doing this. But the strategies vary. And I think this is where we're running into some differences in viewpoint from the former remote viewing.
Let me read you a fact that I just got.
Right.
It says, remote viewing or remote feuding. Hey, Art, is it just me, or do you detect a little bit of contention between the various remote viewing camps? I've been checking out the various websites, and I'm seeing a lot of, quote, I'm the only one who knows what he's talking about, end quote, attitude. Maybe we could have a contest between the various camps and you could decide who really knows what's up. The question is, why are so many people feuding like crazy, people who were in your program?
That is a very astute observation. I like to send an email to that writer, but he's right on target. It's a puzzling thing. I've often wondered about this over the years. And I've noticed this with different people that have even been in the laboratory situation, not just simply people that are on the remote viewing project in government. I think there's a lot of personal ego involved. I think it's like God invented here and us. You see that all over in ordinary research too, not just in this area. You get a certain personal commitment to a procedure, and it works for you. And by damn, it's got to work for everybody else.
Is Ingo Swan the father of remote viewing?
Well, the question is who came up with the term remote viewing?
So you might be the father.
No, I came in a couple of years after.
So you might be the godfather.
Well, in a way, I need to explain the history a little bit.
All right, Dale, that's exactly what we'll do. We're at the bottom of the hour. Hold tight. We'll pick up on the history when we come back. Dale Graff, who did coin the term Stargate, is my guest. We'll be right back.
This is Premier Network. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. listening to Art Bell, Somewhere Inside. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from March 4th, 1998.
Dale Graff is my guest. He was a guest on Nightline when they finally blew the whole thing public. That in fact, our government, over a period of 20 years, I think it was, the CIA, Department of Defense, and many others have been dabbling with PSI, the ability to remotely view things and people and events, and possibly even view through time. They really never covered that part of it on Nightline, but we'll talk about it in a moment, and we'll get the history of remote viewing. I know it's new to a lot of you.
Coast to Coast AM with you anywhere on your mobile phone. CoastToCoastAM.com can be conveniently accessed on your iPhone and most Android platforms, which means that you are never without your Coast to Coast AM fix. If you're a Coast to Coast Insider subscriber, you can listen to the show live in the middle of the night or previous shows 24/7. Plus, you can browse all the great photos, videos, and news stories. Keeping up with Coast to Coast AM has never been easier with our Coast Insider service.
Get a new view of the world with Coast to Coast AM. At this point, I'm not happy with the direction that government is taking. I'm happy with the fact that Americans are beginning to wake up and stand up and do what they have to do. And shout, scream, and blog. And I think that's critical. And I think that's what's going to save the republic. I think in the long run, as we go through all this stuff, it's the people who will save us. And our country will remain strong.
Now, we take you back to the past on Art Bell, Somewhere in Time.
All right, once again, here is the man who coined the term Stargate, Operation Stargate, the man who was on Nightline when all of this was, and we'll talk about that too. I'm really, really interested in how it came public. But right now, Dale Graff, who's almost going to have to yell at us because we don't have a great connection, Dale. You'll have to stay good close to him. Give us a little bit of history of remote viewing.
Okay, but before I do that, I would like to clarify the point we fell off on just at a great time.
Right.
The difference between protocol and strategies. Anytime you do any experiment, you need a fixed protocol to make sure that what you're getting is the valid phenomenon. And that's fairly well fixed. You just keep track of things, good record keeping, that type of thing. Strategies is the attitude that people take in how they generate the impressions. And this is where the problem is coming in with some of the former colleagues, I think. They have a certain approach and they feel that that's the only one, and this is just an incorrect view. The attitudes that one has and how you uncover this psi ability or remote viewing ability or whatever you want to call it are strictly personal. So this is why there's so much differences of opinion and I think dissension, because then it becomes a matter of ownership too much. So having said that, and I just want to comment on that.
Well, only in the sense that now that you said that, I've got to understand the protocols. Now, when you take anybody, because you say everybody equally, and I don't know if I believe that or not, Dale, that everybody equally could be a remote viewer. Others have said that to me, but surely, Dale, there must be some that psychologically, mentally, with regard to PSI ability, are better than others naturally.
Oh, absolutely, and I don't think anybody is saying anything different. What is being said, the way I hear it, and the way I see it, is that we all have some latent ability to achieve some level of psi power.
Fair enough.
But it's like, say, a pianist. Some people do real early on and go into the concert. Others only dabble away at chopsticks. It's that kind of spread, I think.
All right, to give people an idea, now I've interviewed many times Major Ed Dames and many of the other remote viewers who were in that program, and for example, gas canisters in Iraq, it is said, were located by the remote viewers years ago. And when they got to Iraq, they found the gas canisters, which were drawn in the place where they said they would be. Is that a true story?
I don't know. It's information I cannot relate to. If it happened, it was information when I was not directly connected with the project, or it happened at some point later on. But I am not familiar with that incident.
Okay.
Pass on that.
All right. If I were a remote viewer and you were my control, Dale, all right, what would be happening? Give me an example. I mean, you and I are in a room, and how would it work?
All right. Well, first of all, we have to define how you begin the process. What is the objective? And I would assume that if you are wanting to do a remote viewing session, that there is some definition of the target.
Of course. All right, let's pick one.
And so in the research environment, this is usually selected from a randomized target pool. And this could be from a dozen or hundreds of possibilities, depending how it's set up and the purpose. The purpose of randomization is to make sure that no second guessing occurs and to give your subconscious free rein.
Yeah, give me an example of what a target might be.
Okay, if you're doing a remote viewing session, and the objective is to describe a remote area, then a target could be any geographic site. If there's somebody visiting it, in the early days we called this a beacon person.
Okay, let's say a radar site, a Russian radar site in Siberia.
All right. So in this case, in a case like this, now you're talking operational projects. So now you already know the kind of area you want to go to.
That's right.
So in this case, there would have to be some way to relate to your subconscious mind what that location is in the targeting sense.
Without actually telling me what it is.
Right. Without saying, now today we're going to remote view a radar site.
Yeah.
We're going to say, we're going to find some way to randomize or to arbitrarily label the target. We found using some arbitrary labels early on was thought to be most coordinate. Eventually it was found that some randomized numbers would do the trick.
Exactly. Now here's the part that I have never been able to comprehend, and maybe you can help me out here. You as my control, would you pick that randomized number?
It either could be, no, not the control. The randomization needs to come from somebody not connected directly with the session.
All right, so it's a totally unconnected random series of numbers.
That's one procedure, yes.
Do you know what those numbers are? How you, as a control, as my control?
Now, if you say control, if you're referring to as somebody who's doing the interviewing, is that what you mean by control?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yes. In that case, then I would read the numbers to you. It could be some other thing. It could be target XYZ.
All right, would you know what the numbers represent?
No, you should not. If you do, the experiment is contaminated.
Not me, but you.
That's exactly what I meant.
All right, so you don't even know what the numbers are.
No, that would contaminate the whole process.
Oh, okay. So you read me the numbers.
Correct.
I then, based only on those numbers, I begin to visualize or try to visualize what the target is, and I draw as much as I can of what I see. Is that about right?
Well, that's generally correct. Some people prefer to draw. Others will maybe write some feelings or words that come to mind. It's not always a visual thing.
All right, here's what I don't understand. Here's where I get stuck, Dale.
Okay.
At some point, there has to be a transference from the person who decided what the target, the radar base in Siberia, was going to be,
right,
and the guy sitting there actually doing the remote viewing.
And this is actually the biggest puzzle of all.
Yeah.
In fact, any future research would help shed some insight on this problem. It's a real mystery. But for the purpose of practicality, it's been observed that all you need is some kind of identification, some kind of link. Yeah, you can put your thumbprint on the piece of paper that might work. Yeah, I'm really exaggerating here. But you need something to identify a link between the objective and what currently triggers your subconscious response. And I cannot explain it. It's really a mystery.
There actually has to be some form, in my way of thinking, of telepathy occurring between the person who is deciding what the target is and the remote viewer. There has got to be some connection to that number, some connection. Or how is of this happening. I don't, that's one part I just don't get, and I guess you don't either.
Well, I have theories, and so do some of the researchers. One of the theories, which might even be the leading contender here, is that the remote viewer is actually perceiving his future knowledge, so that what you're doing is sketching something that you will then learn at some point later on in time. It's like meeting yourself.
Oh, my.
So I'm just saying that's one concept.
And that is one that would explain it. That had never occurred to me. So that's almost time travel, isn't it?
Well, in a way, because we still need to define what time is. I'm somewhat comfortable with this concept. It seems to cover a lot of other problems which this field has. But the idea of time, let me comment on that a little bit. In terms of time, are we talking about probabilities of the future or something fixed, or what is the future? Yeah, so when it comes to time travel, I'm not sure. It seems to me that we may be projecting a probable future and anticipating these probable futures. We're not really ahead in time. We're just creating a scenario of a probable future in current time. We could be wrong. But at the time the session is done or performed, it's the most likely one. You follow what I'm getting at here?
I'm not sure I do. You say it's not time travel in the classic sense, and yet, it really is.
Okay. It's a perception of time. For example, again, I'm giving you my perspective, and a number of people will not agree with me. But let's talk about past time, because people talk about that a lot too. Retro time, traveling back in time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? Here it may be that anyone with the sun calendar, remote viewing talent, whatever you want to call it, is accessing some holographic type record. And it's not going back in time, it's just finding a place somewhere that has this recorded information. It's like walking into the library. You're not going back in time, you're just finding a whole book. This is the analogy I'm trying to make.
Well, if we're talking about a future or an event distant geographically, but in our current timeline,
Right.
If I understood you correctly, you said the remote viewer is somehow able to read, or through the PSI talent, actually record what he will know in the future, and that's
one idea.
And to me, that's time travel.
You can call it that. I'm not sure if I would call it that. I would call it accessing probabilities of the future in real time. Yeah, maybe we're just quibbling over semantics.
We are.
Okay, fine. That's all we're doing. But I don't see it as time travel. I just see it as you're sitting here now. Somehow subconsciously, your subconscious mind has rounded up all the probabilities that are coming your way in the future, and this is the one that's popping out at that moment.
Well, yeah, but you could do that with a computer.
Yeah, you probably could.
But you probably couldn't remote view with a computer. So there's some difference between a computer, which is great at running through probabilities, and a human being which seems to be required for remote viewing.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. In fact, I would be the last one to say that there would be the same. But in terms of what is actually going on, I'm more comfortable with the idea of a subconscious way of accessing future probabilities. And it just happens to be where I am.
Well, I don't blame you for not wanting to get too comfortable with this term, time travel, but as you wrote it down, it sure sounds like that.
Okay, well, maybe it is. I'll just have a different way of looking at it.
If you could, for example, leap ahead and understand your knowledge of your own investments in the stock market 2 years or 5 years from now, really be on something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, again, this gets into the probability thing, because when you're going into something like that, which is a huge amount of other interactions, almost an infinite amount of other decisions are going on in that time frame, right? I would say, if you do come up with a perception of what a particular stock might be 5 years from now, I would give it a low probability of occurrence. There's too many other things going along that would affect potentially that outcome. It's a possible future, but I would say it's not a probable one. So here I go back to my probability way of looking at things.
Sure.
And in fact, I think this is exactly what happens in most of the so-called precognitive statements that you read about from time to time in the paper, or anytime people try to perceive very far ahead of time, things don't work very well. Once in a while you'll come into something that's very mind-blowing, but without a chance guessing what you don't know. But I'm saying you'll see an awful lot of evidence for accurate stuff beyond some near-term field. I'm just not comfortable with anything beyond a few weeks at a time.
When you were in the Department of Defense with this program, the DIA, what was the general attitude about you and your group? Did they think you guys were out of your minds?
Well, there were people that did that, but early on we had some very encouraging people in the chain of command at various levels that thought we were not out of our mind, but that we were ahead of time, more or less. Yeah, you got me on. But they looked at it sort of innovative, creative group. But that was because the mindset and the attitudes of the early managers in our chain of command were very, very innovative. They were very futuristic in a sense. Later on, when there were a number of people who came on board at higher management levels that really did not have any comfort level with this field at all, and this is one of the reasons. There were others, but this is one of the reasons that the group had to take a low profile. In fact, one of our military commanders even hasn't have to do anything for one whole year for a while.
Really?
So it is a high discomfort level. And once we got through that, then another commander came in that didn't feel much better about that. So the latter part of the program was dodging negative viewpoints from higher management.
Yeah, I assume eventually as you got commanders, it was probably regarded by the commanders who got the assignment as a career ender, or at least a career stall.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure this is what was really behind the motivation of one of the main military commanders that has its biggest say in most of the program. I think it had to do more than anything else. And that the argument that the activity didn't yield any useful application results, I think was just a cover for that overall mentality.
Oh, that's a very important statement. You're saying they ended it, it was political, it was personal, it was prejudice, but it wasn't based in reality. You're telling me the program worked.
There were times the program worked, that's what I'm telling you. And early on, had the review that was done in 1995 actually gone back and interviewed the people that had good success and looked at some of the records from the 1980s and early time frame.
Thank you for enjoying the stream. Pick up part 2 tomorrow. Thank you.